Well, good morning. I'm happy to call this hearing to order. We're here today to revisit opportunities for improving our environmental review and our permitting processes, as you know, in ways that support the deployment of clean energy projects and good-paying jobs across our country. We need both. Today is our committee's second hearing in less than 2 months on an effort to chart a path forward on permitting reform legislation and finish the job that we've already begun. What do I mean by finishing the job? Well, I mean build on the work we started last Congress when we passed, thanks to the leadership of our president and members of this committee, literally in this room, and a once-in-a-generation investment in our nation's infrastructure and the largest investment ever to address the threat of climate change. In addition to helping us tackle the climate crisis and reduce harmful pollution, these historic investments are already creating literally hundreds of thousands of good-paying jobs here at home while helping our nation become even more competitive globally. Still, in order to make these clean energy investments a reality today, we first need to take a serious look at our current permitting processes. During our first permitting hearing just 3 weeks ago, we learned that our nation currently has 2 terawatts of clean energy power sitting on the sidelines, waiting to be connected to our electric grid. I want to say that again. Our nation currently has 2 terawatts of clean energy power literally sitting on the sidelines, waiting to be connected to our electric grid. We also learned at that first hearing that many communities still do not have a seat at the table, and they need to be heard during the permitting process. I believe we can do better, and we must do better. Fortunately, President Biden agrees, and so do many of our colleagues. As I said during that first hearing, I believe that a successful permitting reform proposal must accomplish at least 3 objectives, 3 of them. First, any serious proposal must reduce greenhouse gas emissions while upholding our nation's bedrock environmental statute. That includes addressing transmission barriers that make it harder for renewables to connect to the grid. Second, that proposal must support early and meaningful community engagement. And third, the legislation must provide businesses with certainty and predictability that they need to make informed long-term decisions. During that hearing, we were fortunate to hear from a diverse panel of stakeholders representing industry on the one hand and environmental groups on the other. And while our witnesses did not see eye to eye on every single thing, all 5 of them did agree about the importance of engaging with communities early on and protecting our environment as we work to improve permitting efficiency. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe our ranking member also, and many of our colleagues, also embraced this theme after hearing our witnesses' testimony. In fact, most, if not all, of the stakeholders we've met with throughout the past several months have acknowledged that it's not necessary to use a sledgehammer to crack a nut. In other words, we can achieve efficiencies without gutting any existing laws, and that's what we need to do. Unfortunately, a number of recent proposals, mostly from our friends over in the House of Representatives, aim to streamline the permitting process using very blunt tools and setting up what I believe is a false choice. If enacted, they may well strip away bedrock environmental protections under laws, such as the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA. And some of them would curtail or, in certain cases, outright eliminate the ability to seek judicial review of agency decisions. It is my heartfelt belief that we can provide businesses and communities with greater certainty by using a more targeted approach, and I hope that's exactly what we will do. As Chair Mallory will point out in her testimony today, NEPA helps inform roughly 100,000 federal agency decisions and actions each year. Around 200 projects a year require an environmental impact statement, and that's the most comprehensive type of environmental analysis. That said, more than 95% of projects needing approval receive that approval under the most expedited form of environmental review. That's known as a categorical exclusion. Even with this success, there are opportunities for improvement. As I oftentimes say, in everything I do, I know I can do better. I think that's probably true of all of us. And the same is true in this instance. We can improve efficiency, we can improve certainty, and we can improve predictability in the permitting process while also ensuring that communities have an opportunity to make their voices heard. Earlier this month, the Biden administration released new priorities to accelerate federal permitting and improve environmental reviews across a broad range of infrastructure projects. I think there are a number of good ideas from the Biden administration's proposal that could be, maybe should be, part of permitting reform legislation. Among them is expanding the use of programmatic environmental reviews to accelerate permitting within identified regions. Some agencies are already beginning to do this, as you may know. For example, off the coast of New York State, the use of programmatic economic impact statements is helping to create a record of the environmental impacts of offshore wind development. Doing so can result in more timely project-level reviews. I also believe that we should expand opportunities for developing clean energy facilities on brownfields, an idea that I believe Senator Capito supports, and others on our committee. In addition, we should improve the use of digital tools and data sharing between agencies and facilitate greater community engagement. All ideas also supported by the Biden administration and by a number, maybe most of our colleagues. Still, as we work on this hugely consequential matter, it's important for us to hear from all stakeholders. And that's why I plan to soon release a permitting proposal as a discussion draft. That's what we're calling it, a discussion draft. And when I release it, I encourage our colleagues, I welcome our colleagues, along with members of the public, to provide us with substantive feedback. We also have much to learn about these proposals. We also have much to learn about how these proposals would interface with the work currently being done by the administration to promote timely, effective reviews. And that brings me to why we're holding today's hearing. This is an important hearing. We have a lot of hearings in this room. None of them are unimportant. This one's really important. But we're here to gain the perspectives of these witnesses, and we look forward to hearing from each of you, and we thank you for joining us today.